cryptocurrencies and stock market are down, while the stimulus is on the up, you guys. And today's stimulus packet updates as well as daily news update Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies nearing new lows. Stock market going down as low as 20%. You got President Biden in US measure coming together. Follow for stimulus checks of up to $2,000 per month and for over final. Do details confirmed for the Build Back Better stimulus plan? Is it definitely time to get excited? A woman asked. I feel like at least at this point, volatility is almost synonymous. Volatility is almost synonymous with the cryptocurrencies, so I'm not going to get into the why have we seen the sell-off. Why is it being so volatile? This assessed right now, but I'm going to ask you given the fact that you have a very unique vantage point. If we have seen any kind of changes in terms of institutional investor interest and flows into these assets? Amanda answers, I think we are certainly seeing the changes in institutional capital. If you just look at the forwarder, for instance, we were able to launch interactive brokers, medical banker, through the subsidiary of the medical leader, which is really one of the largest players in all Latin American. Facebook now very larger, and the stablecoin product applied to place. And if you look forward to 2022, I can tell you're looking at open line is larger than ever. The amount of interest and amount of the mainstream adoption that I see coming is tremendous. And that's I think exactly why you can't look at the price and say the change in the price equals a change in the fundamentals. Prices are going to move around. That's happened a lot in the crypto space, and this happened a lot in the market prices. It doesn't necessarily mean the fundamentals have the shift. Continue. Are we going to actually see more payment services carried out, more consumers using things like, for example, Bitcoin or even Dogecoin? If your Tesla to actually make purchases, is this the year? And that actually happened. He said, I think that we're gonna have to just see about it. The reason I like this is I think people want dollars. They want to make a payment in dollars. That's what we are seeing around the world. As people want to be able to have the dollars in their bank account. The problem is money is product, and it just haven't evolved fast enough with how our lives have changed. And that's why stable coins have coming too. I think more mainstream usage. So do people want to use Bitcoin and Dogecoin to buy things? A lot of what that's about is under-assessed. That is it going to go off? It's not really money today. Dollars are money, but we are seeing a lot of use. I think one of the key themes for 2022 will be $1 stable coins and can now be used for everyday goods and services. We are seeing it in the entire tendencies. In the case of Novi between the US and Guatemala, we are seeing it with the medical labor in Brazil, where they are using of the stable coin, and I think it's gonna see a lot of more examples of that through the course of 2020 to whether or not the Bitcoin or Dogecoin are ultimately used as a payment mechanism. I think that is probably unlikely in the near term. I think we could certainly welcome some relief, since more legislation. I think most people in industry would. There needs to be level playing the field and some real rules of the road, so that we all know how we want to be able to operate going forward. This is a growing industry, and I think the uncertainty is really holding back what could be even more growth. On the other hand, there's a lot of things going on the DC. There's been a lot of hearings. I think people are getting educated on it, but it could be hard for something to get through. There's been some bills that have been proposed, and I think they are trying to take a generally constructive tone, and we could welcome it. And we've been in regulation first from the very beginning, the first girls in the state of New York. I think having that be more onerous for everybody is not only going to be better for the industry. Now, while markets are just stimulus seem to be on the up and up, President Trump Biden spoke recently at United States conference on the measures, and he basically said let the stimulus flow. President Biden referred to $350 billion that went on the state and the cities from the March stimulus package, and says measures should use these resources to build back better future around the people who make communities run involved. He told the measures to use your funds to cover the childcare cost and temporary paid leave to help certain workers dealing with Omicron, build pathways to better job through union-based apprenticeships on the job training to give the people in various zip codes a chance to deal with for themselves, unquote. And that's definitely what we're seeing here coming from states and cities. We are keeping a light list here on the channel of all the states and cities launching their stimulus check and multi-income programs, some in our cities. Some are giving out the similar checks as big as $2,000 a month for real guys here. Los Angeles, California, hundreds of Argelino families experiencing hardship due to pandemic are about to receive cash wide force $1,000 each month for a year. Some 3,200 families will be chosen at random to qualify. You must be at least 18 live within the city, having income no greater than the federal poverty level, be pregnant or have at least one dependent child, and have struggled from economic or medical difficulties due to the pandemic. Chicago, Illinois. So Chicago will give a 5,000 low-income residents $500 each month for a year to spend. However, they want the city council pass the budget on October 27th to fund the $31.5 million program. Full details are not available yet, but the spokesperson for Mayor office told the radio station that applicants must have been economically very hard hit by the pandemic to be eligible. Houston, New York. 75 lower income residents will receive $500 checks each month for 5 years. To be eligible, applicants must be live in Houston, be over 18 years old, and earn less than $39,000, and the lottery decides who gets the cash bid bird. Kansas, the city council approved the major plan to give the unrestricted $500 payment every month for 2 years to those living within 5 low-income zip codes. Half the 200 recipients will be black women. The others will be randomly selecting people from any race and gender. The new $16 million shelter relief funds were announced on October 25th to help those impacted by the pandemic, regardless in your citizenship. For immigration status, you may be eligible concurrently on the merit of the historic achievement for American people, and the measure will continue to press for action. And White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki dropped some major debt on the Build Back Better package. In her latest press briefing, she talked about their next step and the components that they are prioritizing. Question just yesterday, she was asked, could get the 60 votes on everything else you can tell us about which policy proposal you guys might feel helpful about. Is it the universal PK? Is that the paid sick leave? Where do you guys feel like you might actually be able to get the 10 Republicans? She said, I'm not aware of one. Maybe that is, and there are some senators who have been out there saying they support different components. Senator Romney has said he supports the or is open to some components of the child tax credit. He is not the only one. There are 10 Republicans they can get to support that rate. We are happy to have discussion about it. And that's not what the president was talking about other night. What the president was talking about is getting as much, although we are very open to that. But we are that the president was talking about this. We have the 50 votes on the Senate unit. We are going to get as much a big mountainside church, whatever you want to call it, as much as we can have a build back better channel that we can get the 15 votes for their clear agreement on some key goals, lowering the cost of the child care and negotiating the price of the prescription drugs, lowering the cost of elder care, making sure the well-less the Americans and companies have to pay more, and unfairness the tax system. So we have to figure out is how much of that we can get and get approval for that. In his recent press conferences, and journalists break that down for us right here. Sometimes we not only are going to, in fact, to pay for this bill, nobody under 400 grand a year will pay penny more in taxes. We've already cursed the federal budget by $300 billion. He also emphasized the need for a fairer tax system with the measures that he spoke to, quote, raise your hand if you think of the tax structure is fair, and then we'll take a picture of you and send it home and vote. Definitely some exciting symbols to watch out for coming soon. DNC Chair Jim Harrison talks about Biden's midterm plans here. A woman asked, if people keep going to gas pumps, if people keep going into the grocery store, Procter and Gamble just said in the last 24 hours, we are gonna raise prices again. People need to lower detergent. These are not luxuries. How do we go out and make your case to American people when they just see their prices going up? He said two things. One of the things is President is really safe this economy. You think about how things could be right now. If we did not pass the American Recruit Plan, the reason why schools are open right now is because Democrats under leadership of Joe Biden put money back into their schools without any Republican support. Same thing with many of our hospitals and our cities who desperately needed resources. We were able to stabilize the economy and even grow and add more jobs to the economy because of investment made in American Recruit Plan. But the president also said the other day that we got to go out and sell this accomplishment. Think about all the things that we have to be able to do. We know that COVID is still wet blanket. That is really not only here in America, but all over the global. It is really holding down the starting back and getting back in the normalcy. But this administration is doubling down that, and they are stressing the urgency for the first to get vaccinated in the posting. If more people could do that, and then we can get back to the normal quicker, and then we will see all the things that we enjoy and that feeling that we have that things on remember. How we were going into the summer, a lot of people thought that we are getting back to the normal, but we still have a lot of Americans who were not vaccinated. We saw the COVID numbers increase. We need to do our part of get this economy. Democrats are continuing to do things for American people. That's a component of the bill that the better agenda are just that. In Joe Biden's proposal, he has provisions about the child care, giving families almost $10,000 back a year on the child care expenses. That's how you make people feel like things are getting better.